Hello and welcome to episode 176 of the
Eldritch Podblast.
I am Margaret.
I am Jack.
And we are a D&D podcast where we focus on the social aspect of D&D.
We give advice to players and dungeon masters old and new.
And most importantly, we believe in creating a safe and inclusive and welcoming space in the TTRPG community.
So if that sounds all right to you, welcome in.
Come here.
Come here.
Come in.
You want to cuddle?
We saved you seat here.
Oh. This is where you sit.
This is where you sit.
When you're watching the podcast.
Yeah. You sit there, by the way.
You sit there. When
Yeah,
the
that's
dog
where you
doesn't
sit.
sit there.
Yeah.
Because
No.
he's downstairs.
Even
and
when
he's
the dog
abandoned us
sits
and he
there.
actually says he hates us.
Yeah.
That's where you sit.
Even when the dog sits there, that's where you sit. You just have to squeeze in. Yeah.
Squeeze.
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 Little squeeze in.
Oh, I can hear him.
I can hear him.
Here he
He's
comes.
heard us talk. Come on.
He's trotting.
Listen, you know what? I know. Everyone last episode who was like, I'm very sad that the dog isn't here. Hey, same. Hey, trust me, same. There's nothing I want more than my dog to sit in the middle of us.
He'll arrive.
I can hear him. I can hear him
The
kicking
thing
around
is, he wants
downstairs.
his lunch, but it's not time yet.
Well, that's too bad.
No, it's too damn bad.
It's too damn bad.
It's too damn bad.
I mean, it's not. He's not far off, honestly.
Yeah, he had his breakfast a little later, though.
Yeah,
So
true.
He is.
True.
After this, he'll have his lunch.
True.
As soon as this is done, he'll have his lunch.
He's a hungry bubbin right now.
Hungry bubbo.
The vet came around again. He's fine. He's fine. He's on more steroids, and here he is.
He's not on more steroids. He's just on the same amount of steroids he was on at the beginning. Just
More
because there's an
antibiotics.
infection that the antibiotics.
Clearly
he's on
isn't.
no antibiotics.
Yeah.
The antibiotics weren't doing its job, so they were just like, hey, we just need to find out what it is. So they took a little swab of his infection.
Here he is.
And then they'll tell us what to use.
Yeah, so he's on the right path. The vet was
fine.
happy with how.
Oh,
Whoa! Did you just move? Oh, I can
No.
see you moving. Oh no!
You're wobbling a bit. But
Oh gosh! Oh goodness!
You're okay.
Oh.
You haven't had that much to drink, right?
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna
Hey,
fall
I
over.
wouldn't judge you. I wouldn't judge you for it. It's it's the afternoon, but it's all right. I don't judge you.
Afternoon's fine. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, am I
Yeah,
right?
it's Friday somewhere. Am
It's
I right?
Friday and 5 o'clock
It's
somewhere.
Friday and 5 o'clock somewhere.
Because that's how time
exactly.
works.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Confirm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. I hope you've had a great week. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Hope you had a great weekend. What'd you get up to?
Tell me what you did your weekend.
Oh no.
The chair's moved.
Oh, good.
That's good.
You're just a barrel, aren't you? You're coming up
You
on me.
just smash- yeah, oh,
Here
very
he is. Wow. Well.
Microphone's not working.
Oh, well.
Okay, is it
All
back?
right.
It's back. Well,
see, this is why you need to get on beforehand, bully.
we can't see if it's recording anymore.
Yep.
You smashed my mic to the point where I had to jiggle it around to get it to work again.
He's not even looking at you, is he?
Hey.
Oh, dear me.
Right, let me move my leg.
And I got the dog butt. I hope you've had a great weekend, whatever you've been up to. Is your dog just as destructive as ours is? I'd like to know. The fans on him. Do you think he's a bit cold? Do you think he'll be all right?
I think you'll be absolutely fine.
I'm such an enabler for this dog. I really am.
Yeah, you are.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. We haven't really done much.
We went out for some food with Matthew last night.
We did. Hey,
You and
know
Matthew
what?
discussed your next characters.
Yes. Well, at time of this coming out, no, we haven't done
Nope.
the
By the time Thursday's episode comes out, the campaign will have finished.
Yeah, we're doing our final story session of Jack's campaign this Wednesday for you, which is wild. Absolutely unbelievably how quick it came round. And then we have a final wrap-up session, which is, we always have a wrap-up session where we do the final last story bit, and then we get together, and it's kind of like, all right, what do our characters do? Where do they go? How do their stories, what's the beginning of the end for them type thing. So very exciting. And yeah, me and Matthew, I obviously can't say anything right now, but me and Matthew, we have kind of a joint characters.
Yeah.
They're not joint in the fact that, we haven't written our backstories together or anything like that, but very closely intertwined. And it's the first time that either of us, at least in these campaigns, have ever done some sort of a joint backstory.
Yeah.
I think Matthew has done joint backstories with people before, but I haven't. And I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I
think
cannot wait.
you two, it's like the main crux of the backstory, like
Mm.
the main like plot hook of the
Mm.
backstory,
Mm.
you don't know each other's thing.
No.
Maybe
No.
because maybe each other doesn't know it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe like they're leaving it very much in my hands as to be like
Mm-hmm.
what happens.
Yeah.
But there is large amounts of the backstory that you don't know, but you know each other.
Yeah, we know
And
each other. Yeah.
like when you would learn something about each other's characters in game, you would like begin to learn facts
and
about
be
them.
like, oh.
You already know bits like that about each other.
Yeah, and
which
I
is cool.
think learning things would give context to certain things. And I can't say too much right now because if you didn't know, over on our Patreon, our Moon Druid and Entity tiers, they get access to our monthly campaign updates where we go through everything, and it's all very imminent. It's all happening, and I don't want to talk about the next characters until these are finished up and you've had the official kind of ending, if that makes sense. But just know, very exciting. I think you'll all really, really enjoy the dynamic. I think the dynamic
between you two.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
dynamic it, to me is very exciting.
Yeah,
I'm
I agree.
very, very excited for dynamic. It's not it's not conflict. I wouldn't say that.
No.
I think it's the closest to conflict, apart from maybe Blythe and Avalo, which never really came to fruition. I think it's the closest to conflict that we're going to have right off the bat, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for.
It's gonna be great. I'm
Yeah.
really excited.
Yeah. And we spoke to Matthew and we were like, man, you need to, once we've finished the campaign updates and everything, Matthew needs to come on and we need to talk about these dynamics together. I think they would be really, really fun for you.
I think it'd be
for you to be privy to,
and to see how maybe we handle something like that. That
Totally.
maybe people do struggle
Yeah.
at times to handle in their games.
Yeah. If there's one thing I know that we can do, God, especially me and Matthew, like I know that we can handle it. And to be fair, we were very clear last night, and I think going forward, if things ever do get to that point, we'll be able to talk about it properly above table and privately as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, very, very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Speaking about D&D, this week, this Friday, we are going to be doing... Sorry. Oh, goodness.
This Sunday?
Hey, actually, this Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday.
the 20th of October, we are going to be doing our very first one-shot, our very first actual play live on Twitch. It is a one-shot set in the same world that this current campaign is in, 650 years in the past. So I always say future.
You
past.
do. Yeah. You do always say future.
Future. And it's going to be a 2-player TTRPG, which I'm very excited for. I can show you actually because there's still time. I wasn't sure. Woke up this morning, checked the Discord. I've only briefly shown Brienne, who is my character,
a pick crew
of Brienne, and I'm not kidding you, very briefly on stream.
Yeah.
It was incredibly brief. To be fair, by the time this goes out, I will have posted more. Woke up, farewell Fox. Fox, I'm pretty sure is the person who was like, if you could describe Brienne in one word, what would it be? And my word, of course, was defiant.
Oh my God, what?
What?
Okay, Margaret with a character that's defiant?
No. And literally, farewell Fox today at time of filming, hit us up with this. It's
sick that, innit?
It's Brienne.
Shown one pick crew on stream.
Farewell Fox is like, I know what I'm going to do with this. So
it's my time to shine.
So the thing is, right? Obviously, we have a Discord full of artists. Like I would say, our community is incredibly artist heavy. Like lucky us, by the way. And I obviously wanted to get something commissioned for Brienne. But at the time when we actually started solidifying things, there was only 2 weeks before the one shot.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's not fair for me to ask an artist and expect them to have something done for me in ideally less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not fair of me to put that pressure on them. And it's not fair of me to put the pressure on being like, and also, by the way, it's going to go live on Twitch. Live on Twitch.com.
Live on Twitch.com?
Yeah,
/Podblast?
It wasn't fair of me.
It's Twitch.tv.
Twitch. Oh, true. True. Yes.
Twitch.tv/Podblast. Oh my god.
So I didn't ask. I was just like, it's too much work for someone
Yeah.
to do, basically. But hey, now we got Brienne.
We got Brienne.
So Farewell Fox. Oh my god, nearly swore. Thank you so very much. She
Yeah.
looks incredible. You did
amazing.
an incredible job. Thank you so much. Anyone who is interested in doing some art of Brienne, we will put all of the art actually on the overlay on stream when we actually do it. And we'll credit everyone, obviously. But, you know, now that I realize that people actually maybe would have wanted to do it, I realize I should have just asked.
I don't know why you didn't. Of course people wanted to.
I know, I just felt guilty. Honestly, I just felt guilty. And something like art, it either comes to you in a flash of inspiration or it does not.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have to ask someone.
Oh, you're just really talented.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. You know.
You're just unbelievably talented and you can just pull out your
Or you
ass
can just do it in
like,
2 weeks. True. But,
in
you
2
know,
weeks?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That was 3 days
Yeah.
from Friday?
See, you know, every piece of art I've ever commissioned has absolutely taken more than 2 weeks.
I know.
So, based on my previous experience, I was like, but hey, I guess I was wrong, to be honest with you. So yeah, if by any chance, I'll leave the pit crews, and of course, there's Farewell Fox's reference here of Brienne as well. If you're interested, please go ahead, post it in the Podblast fan art, and we'll put it on the overlays and everything like that.
Yeah.
And give you full credit. So how exciting!
Very exciting.
So please, join us on September the
October the 20th.
It's October the 20th.
Sunday, October the 20th at 6 p.m. BST?
GST. BST.
GST. BST. And come watch our 2-player TTRPG.
Yes, please do. We'd love to have you. I've written the timestamp down for Brienne. And I've misspelt it as Grianne.
Grianne, no.
You're just gonna have to know what that means.
That's fine.
Anything else?
I started trying to play Deadlock.
You did.
It's really hard.
You did.
I'm not a MOBA player.
No.
I don't understand what MOBAs are. Do you know what? It's combining 2 games that I've never been good at. It's basically Overwatch.
Yeah.
And League of Legends.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really League of Legends, but League of Legends is just the most popular MOBA.
Yeah.
So it's just like you have lanes, you have like NPCs that you need to destroy, and you buy abilities. So it is it does follow the MOBA thing, but it's very much awesome characters with cool abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, but I really want to give it a go because it looks really cool.
My problem is I'm cripplingly addicted to World of Warcraft, and I can't do anything but World of Warcraft. So, Jack's coming out of his WoW era, and
I'm not coming out of my WoW era.
I'm
just
in my WoW
see.
era.
This is the thing. I don't really have eras like you have.
You
have eras.
That light's on. Can you reach it?
I've got a sword.
Go on. Sorry. This lighting has probably been horrible. Watch it be good job. Now it feels really dark.
Well, it does now, yeah, because it's turning light off.
Yeah. Hey, how's that lighting for you? You know what? I locked the aperture on the camera, so maybe the camera looks. I'm gonna have to check it, aren't I? Hey, was it totally fine and looked like nothing had changed? Yeah, maybe.
Potentially.
Yeah, hey, maybe.
But hey, I don't really have eras.
Oh,
I like to just like, especially if there's a new game, and the thing is Josh is playing this game, and he was like, it's sick, I'll send you the code or whatever, because it's still in early access. And then I sent it to you and John, and I had to go over it. It looked really cool, and all the like heroes look really super fun and stuff. And I just like delving into a new game and learning things about it and stuff like that. It's really exciting. Do you remember when we first got into Val?
Yeah.
And it was just fun because it was just like all really new.
Don't remember. I don't remember it like that at all.
Oh,
my problem is
really like the beginning
my
of Val.
problem is I don't like change, and learning something new is very scary for me.
Yeah.
So I don't have that feeling at all. I do not get excited for new things. I'm scared of new things.
No.
And I couldn't care less about Deadlock right now because I'm so addicted to World of Warcraft.
Yeah, this is the thing with Deadlock is it's so new.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, Oh,
No.
oh, he's gone.
Was it because I was touching your head too much?
Oh no.
Is it my fault? Was it Daddy's fault?
No.
But yeah, so if anyone's playing Deadlock, tips are welcome in the comments. Who I should play and why and what I should do.
Yeah, I'm sure my FOMO will get to me if you all play it. That's what happened with Valorant. I was adamant I was never going to play Valorant.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I just got too much FOMO.
Yeah.
And then I became cripplingly addicted to it.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a pattern of behavior with me.
Yeah, and I think you got really good at Val.
Thank you. I didn't get really good, but I got better than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
To be fair. Yeah. And I feel, I'm so happy just juggling. He's knocked the chair again. I'm so happy juggling World of Warcraft and Val, and that's it. I have 2 games in my sphere. That's about it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where we get to. We'll see where we get to.
All right. Well, today we are doing another Reddit post.
Yes,
and this was one that was posted to our subreddit.
Which is kind of crazy.
I don't know necessarily who runs the subreddit. I think the mod said that it was Teddy, but I don't know if that was actually confirmed or written in stone.
I don't know
who
runs the subreddit.
But either way,
if it is Teddy, thank you very much.
Yeah,
if it's not Teddy, thank you very much.
Indeed,
to whoever it is.
Indeed, thank you so much. There's a subreddit that we have now. Turns out, it's obviously not official and it's not run by us, but I do check it to see if there's anything posted on there.
Yeah.
Because it's your place where if you see something on Reddit that you think we'd be interested in, post it there.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was from there, so
should we put a link to it in the description?
Yeah.
We'll put a link into it.
Yeah, indeed. And if you're ever scrolling Reddit and you see something that you'd like us to talk about, put it on there and we might do it.
Yeah.
And also I want to say thank you to our mod Adam. Adam messaged me the other day and he was like, "Hey, like I know that you're really busy and time is finite. If you'd like, I can plan your episodes for you and put the topics in." And to which I obviously said, "That is so kind of you. Thank you. I could never expect you to do that." And unpaid, certainly not. But Adam's been sending me some stories from Reddit. Hey, we have the same brain because 9 out of 10 of them we've already read.
Have we?
Yeah, at some point we've already read. But Adam actually hooked me up with there's a D&D Am I the Asshole subreddit now.
Yeah. There's an actual official one.
I
think I saw it the other day.
Yeah.
It was Am I the Asshole TTRPG or something like that.
Yeah. Which I had no idea existed. So thank you. Hey, you guys are doing Entity's work, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, this is from the Reddit.
Just before we get in,
yes,
like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell if you haven't. Go and pick up some merch. www.eldritchpodblast.co.uk. Keep your eyes peeled on the merch.
Yes.
Soon there might be something new going up.
Indeed. Very, very soon we are going to be releasing the Pride t-shirts, and we've worked out which charity we're going to donate to.
Yes.
Every Pride t-shirt we sell, we're going to take 10% of the proceeds and donate it to a local LGBTQIA plus charity called Hearts Gable. And they run all sorts of workshops. They do training, like LGBTQIA plus training for businesses. They are local, which is
to us,
which is important to us.
Which is important to us because around here there ain't a huge amount going on for a lot of people. It's not like a bigger city where maybe there are things to do and communities and things like that. Here it's very small and not very inviting for LGBTQIA plus people because it's just in the north we're a little bit behind, I think, sadly. So we wanted to do something for the local scene. So that's where we'll be going to. They're not up yet. They will be going up soon. I
think we're hoping for the end of this month, beginning of next.
Yeah, end of this month, beginning of next. They'll be going up.
And if you don't know what they are, to be fair, I have some mock-ups that we can put in here. They are basically just our diamond logo, a D10 logo.
Our
literally
D10 logo?
exactly that. Just in different pride flag colors.
Yeah.
I think we have 39 designs in total. We tried our very best to be as inclusive as possible, and anything that had a flag we tried to include. I'm not gonna lie, my ignorant ass doesn't know what
a lot of them
are. I have to be so honest with you.
Yeah.
But anything that had a flag we tried to put in because it's important to have representation.
Yeah, of course it is.
And if we're missing any, please let us know. It's we'll be able to get them up at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's about 38 or 39, including like the standard Pride, rainbow design as well. They're going to be available on t-shirts and hoodies. And again, 10% of proceeds will go to Heart Gables.
Yeah.
And yeah, Keep an eye out. We'll let you know. We'll let you know when they actually
Yeah.
post.
And check out the Patreon down below
Yes, indeed.
for more exclusive content.
So,
Thank you so much to all our patrons over at Patreon.
you have no idea how much we appreciate your support.
If you want to support us over at Patreon and gain access to our exclusive content,
Like our D&D campaign updates and our extra monthly live streams.
click the link in the description. More about Patreon at the end of this video. Thank you.
Today's topic. The title of the thread is, what popular D&D concept or attitude do you hate?
Interesting.
And, I wasn't sure what this encompassed, but it becomes very clear quite quickly.
Yeah.
I think, and I've talked about one of them before, and I've not talked about the other before, but I have two.
Okay.
And I'm worried that the second one is not. It's kind of unpopular.
The second one's what
Yeah.
you've got an unpopular opinion?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. And this is just popular concepts throughout D&D or attitudes towards maybe being a player, towards the rules, towards being a DM.
Yeah.
My first one is that there is some sort of secret sauce to any of it.
Yeah.
I hate that concept.
Yeah. There's a do these things to have a good game
Totally.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or like secrets that you need to know to run a good game. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's
Top 10 DMing secrets that will blow your players away.
there's none. It's
There is none.
There's best practices.
Yeah.
And there's good things to, keep in mind. I think there is some things that when you would come to the game, you wouldn't instantly know,
No.
and knowing them would help you.
Yeah.
But it's not going to instantly make your game like Critical Role.
Yeah, I think
Or something like that.
100%. And I think there's some universals that every table would benefit from having. For example, good communication.
Yeah.
That's a universal that I think everyone. Hey, healing potions is a bonus action.
There you go. There's one that will actually
that's-
instantly make your table better.
That's a universal one, in my opinion. Having a session 0 that will universally make
your game
everyone's experience better.
100%.
In my opinion.
100%.
But the idea that if you follow XYZ from someone,
Your game's going to be sick.
it's just not true.
And everyone's going to enjoy it.
It's just not true. And
Thing is, it's like the problem is with that is you could do all of these things to make your game amazing.
Yeah.
You could follow every single rule to the T,
mhm.
and then you could just get a group that either
just don't care.
who just don't care,
Yeah.
don't enjoy the story that you want
Yeah,
to tell,
exactly.
and then you sat there like, but I did all the things.
Yeah, I did all the things, and then that makes the person feel bad.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there is the same sentiment for players, not as much as for players.
Yeah.
DMs definitely get the brunt of
But
it.
I think that's because there's less dungeon masters and there's more pressure on dungeon masters.
yes, definitely.
And
Dungeon Masters, they're the
it's-
narrator of the story.
it's
They're
different.
Yeah, it is
It's
different.
different.
It is different.
If you're a dungeon master, you're in a completely different boat.
Yeah.
And it does, in a way, it does rely on you. It's just like, yeah, you need both to have an amazing session. You need a good dungeon master and good players
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to make it. But it does begin with you. Like you tell a story that people are engaged in and why they're
Definitely,
engaged.
It does.
And it
Yeah.
allows them to get immersed
Yeah.
and then be the good
Yeah.
player.
So naturally, all of this kind of rhetoric around, oh, do this or do that or try this. And the thing is, I think maybe it's unfair of me to say it's not true because it actually could be very true for some people, but it's so subjective.
Yeah, there isn't a hey, here's the 7 rules to be the best dungeon master ever.
Totally.
It's just I honestly think the only thing that makes you a good dungeon master is time.
Time and knowing your players.
Time
Seriously.
and experience.
Time,
and,
experience, and knowing your players. Yeah.
Like not being afraid
Yeah.
to fuck up and make mistakes
Yep.
and reflect. It's
Yeah.
like I look back at my first and second campaigns and there's a million things I'd do differently. In terms of story, in terms of being a
Well,
dungeon
yeah,
master, in
that's
terms
just-
of
that's just
all
life
of these
though, yeah.
different things. But I didn't follow a special sauce.
No.
I've just reflected on them and why I think I would change them.
Yeah.
And still now I'll in a year's time.
Yeah,
I'll look
of
back on
course, of
campaign
course, yeah.
3 and be like,
Oh,
man,
yeah, of
like
course,
I wish
that's
I'd done
natural.
this and that
That's-
differently. Yeah.
That's natural. And,
Yeah.
I think time, experience, knowing your players, honestly, communication. I think all of those things will make you the perfect dungeon master for you
Mhm.
and your table.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any, and I think experimenting as well. You know, I think trying these things that people say that will make you a great DM, try them and see how you like them.
And they might not work for you, and that's fine.
And just because if they don't work for you, it doesn't mean that you're a bad DM.
Nope.
You know, I think that's my biggest one.
I think that's a really good one.
My next one.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Are you a piece of shit?
Yeah, I am actually.
Oh my god.
My next one that I don't hate. I think hate is a very strong word, by the way.
Hate is an extremely strong word.
And also, I should have said this at the top of the episode. These are, of course, all subjective, all opinions. As we just said then, every single person and every table and every DM plays
differently.
so differently. Yeah. So if there's something that we say here that you don't agree with, that is completely fine. That is your prerogative. Yeah. And what works for your table works for your table. I feel like I'm over-explaining this. I don't like yes and.
Yeah. We've talked about this. Like, I like yes and for players when they improvise. But as a dungeon master, this rhetoric, this opinion that you are a bad dungeon master if you don't yes and is such a toxic.
I think so, yeah.
And really, it's like we had that opinion from last week. We had that or like story from like last week at some point where they were like, oh yeah, I let my players heal the poisoned prince, and then because they didn't go and get the antidote, it's just like I said yes to them being able to heal the poison, and then they didn't go on the quest, so then my story didn't progress. I let them have a check on seeing an invisible army that they weren't supposed to see until way later, and then they rolled a natural 20 for a 30, and then they tried to fight the invisible army there, and then it's just like, because of yes and because of this whole like you don't say no as a dungeon master, people get themselves into situations that they shouldn't get themselves into.
I completely agree.
And like honestly, there are so many times in a campaign where you as a player don't even know it, but you being told no at that moment has made the story 1,000,000 times better because you didn't find something out that you shouldn't have known well before.
Yeah, I agree. And that is not to say that I don't agree with yes and in general. I know that yes and is a very popular and a very widely used improv tool. I'm very, very aware of that.
I think it's a great improv tool.
Yeah, I think it is. I agree.
A nice low stakes improv tool.
Yeah.
Where we can have funny moments and great role play.
Perfect example of this. Me and Matthew, I won't give anything away. I was like, I can't wait for one of us, because our characters know each other already. I was like, it's going to be so funny for our characters to be like, oh, remember that? And then for us to be like, yes. And then this. I think yes and is great in terms of, like you said, low stakes things. I think expecting a DM to use yes and every time. Hey, listen, this is coming from a stupid monkey brain player. We do some dumbass things sometimes. We ask for ridiculous things, honestly, not even realizing the implication of how stupid the thing we've asked to do is.
Because you don't know what's behind the screen.
Exactly.
You don't know the implications of what you're asking sometimes. You're just asking questions. And asking questions is great. I want you to ask questions, and I'll give you answers to a point. But if for whatever reason, let's just say you're about to 5 minutes prior to the plot unraveling, the secret unraveling, you should almost be able to guess it. Like that's the point. Yeah. Because when it happens, you're like, oh, I knew it. Oh my god! And then bully.
He's dangerously close to pulling you over.
He's horrendously close to pulling you over.
Just so you know.
Sorry. 5 minutes before the plot hook reveal, you've gotten all these hints, and then there's this big moment where I change the lights, I put the music on, I give you the monologue, and it's this like epic thing.
Yeah.
And you ask the right question, and because I have to yes and like maybe give you the information, and then the reveal feels absolutely doggers. Yeah. Because I didn't just wait because I didn't want to say no.
Yeah, I think this is very specifically for DMs, and I think expecting, especially like new DMs and especially inexperienced DMs, this again, it's to be honest, it's very similar to the secret sauce thing, right? To expect all DMs to be able to yes and, not knowing what caliber of player they have, not knowing what type of storytelling they like, not knowing the nuance of any of it.
Not
I
knowing that it
think
could
is,
ruin a quest line because
Yeah.
they just skipped something by
Yeah.
asking a question
Yeah,
that you weren't prepared for.
Yeah, and I think, God, and you know what? This is me giving players the benefit of the doubt. Imagine having an arsehole player who intentionally does things to wind the DM, because trust me, they exist.
Oh,
Like,
they
so
exist.
many of them exist.
Oh,
You know,
they exist.
I think without proper context, it can be like it can be really stinky for DMs.
And this is the thing. It's like, I love Yes And.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Yes And is great.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I think
I definitely think it's more of a player thing than it is a Dungeon Master
yeah,
thing.
like
And in low stakes situations,
Yes.
I think that Yes And is great for a Dungeon Master too.
Yes.
To roll with the punches and have that great like funny tavern scene
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like that. But not when it comes to like plot lines and quests.
Yeah, it's like, imagine if there's like a really important god in your world,
Yeah.
and then a player goes, yeah, and I'm the kid of that god, by the way, and then the DM has to go,
No, you're not.
yes, yeah, you are, you know, and I know that that's a really extreme example.
Yeah, but
right?
I get what you mean. It can just get out of hand just for the sake of saying Yes And.
I think a better tool for DMs is no, but.
Yeah.
And I think being able to being able to say no to your players is really important.
I agree. Again, this I literally I clipped it for TikTok tonight because I think it's such a Yes And story of, this prince, and they were like, hey, can I heal the prince? And then they were like, go for it. And then they healed the prince, and then they were like, all right, well, we don't have to go on this mission to go and find the antidote where this thing was going to happen now. And it's just like, well, I just wish I hadn't said yes. And then the whole, hey, is there something out there? You rolled a natural 20, and now you see the invisible armies out there that you weren't supposed to see until later in the story.
Yeah.
But you asked for the roll because you were scared to say no. It's just like, no is such a powerful thing for a dungeon master. Yeah. And I'm not saying say no all the time.
No.
There's so many times where you should say yes.
Totally.
And also so many times where you should give information because you want to like let your players into the plots that you have.
It's all so nuanced and just applying Yes And to everything.
But just throwing, hey, dungeon masters, be more Yes And around. It's just like that's
you should always use Yes And.
Such unhelpful advice.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think, by the way, anyone who's ever given that advice, I don't think they're saying it in ill will.
No, I think
I don't think it's.
But I think we sit here on a throne of many stories.
Throne of many lies.
we sit here on this couch, having read, 176 episodes into this podcast, having done thousands of stories, and having heard all these things. It's just like, we look at it differently because we've seen when Yes And fails.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that we know any more than anyone else would.
No.
But it forms an opinion, and I think Yes And, again, I think hate is a very strong word, and it's also, not applicable to everything.
I honestly think, it's not that I hate Yes And, I hate the rhetoric about you're a bad dungeon master if you don't use Yes And
exclusively all the time.
All the time.
Yeah,
you never say no.
I agree. Do you have any before we get into them?
I'll wait till the end because I have one, but it's not really about like in game. I think it's a little bit different. I'll wait till the end.
All right. Okay. So this first one from the Reddit is: I hate players whose interesting trait is that they just cause problems for the party. They commit crimes against the wishes of the party. They steal from other party members. They have some special trait or a weakness that causes them to be a constant burden to the party. They don't actually want to adventure, so the rest of the party is forced to constantly encourage and persuade them.
Yeah, and the thing is, I actually love that character, honestly, more than any character when it's done right.
Yeah.
But the problem is, everyone does it so wrong that it makes everyone hate. Like, yeah, I've got loads of quests and a story to tell and this like main plot line and backstories to get to, but because you just want to steal everything and now we've got to break out of prison, it's that same thing. It's just that it can get annoying.
Yeah, time and place, and like, I especially agree with the like, they don't want to adventure, so the party has to every single time convince them to stay and convince them just to get up and go.
Yeah.
Like, that is so frustrating.
So annoying.
And yeah, I agree. The interesting trait and the quirk being like, oh yeah,
I like to steal things.
Every time every time I hear this sound, I go crazy and I attack people
Yeah,
or
and I
something
just
like
lose
that.
my mind.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I get it. I get that. That's a really, my very first character, Beloved. Her whole thing, the whole reason she went into rage is because when she saw blood, she couldn't control herself. But imagine
she
if
could-
every single time she saw blood anywhere, she lost it. It was
And when the thing is, it's just like you went into a rage, but you never like turned on us.
no.
Like that was the thing. It's just like it was always you just found like strength
Yeah.
to like finish the
Oh.
to finish the battle.
See, I'm sick of having the bum. I want the head.
I've had the bum for weeks.
No, I want his head.
Yeah, so but like there's characters like not the brave, like to steal
Yeah,
and to
yeah,
cause
yeah,
trouble
yeah.
and but had a reason to adventure still. I think that was the thing. It's just like if you still have a reason to adventure, but you are a little bit of a troublemaker, I think it can be really fun.
Yeah, and as long as the party don't care. You know? As long as the party don't care. Like
even Jester, like wanted to do things in the name of the Traveler and stuff like that. But it's knowing when and knowing like why to do it.
totally.
think.
And having the space to do so as
Yeah, yeah.
well in a way that isn't just fucking annoying
Yeah.
and just like and drags everyone else into it and puts a halt to everything else.
Man, when it halts everything because
Everything.
now we've got to deal with
Yeah.
you guys couldn't help but get drunk and fight, and now you've burnt down the tavern and everyone in the town hates us. We've been excommunicated from the town, but the quest's in there, so it's just like now it's become 1 million times harder because you just wanted to
Yeah.
fuck around.
Yeah.
And I get fucking around's fun.
Totally,
But like,
totally.
at least respect the campaign and its setting.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah, I think that's a concept I don't like.
Yeah.
The next one is I absolutely abhor the sexy bard seduces everything cliche because bards have so much more depth than that. And I grew up around real life bards, performing artists, some of whom who have become quite famous.
Let's go.
Out
Drop
of
the
all
names.
of them, only one of them has the seduce everything mentality. The rest were socially anxious nightmares who found comfort on stage. And additional to this, it creates creepy tabletop players who essentially turn into walking roofie machines. Bards are described as someone who weaves magic through words and music to inspire allies, demoralize foes, manipulate minds, create illusions, and even heals wounds. So the bard seduces the dragon trope really frustrates me.
Yeah, I think again, this is my issue with this. I think when the silver-tongued bard is done well,
Yeah,
and
your typical charismatic, charming,
and is also very respective
yes,
of the people around them,
yes,
and respects boundaries and stuff like that.
yes.
It can be amazing and can be done super well.
I
and can
completely
be
agree.
super fun.
I love that character.
But yeah, the problem is just a bunch of creeps use it as an excuse.
Yeah,
And
it's just a bunch of creeps who go into a tavern and say, "Is there any women?
Where's the hot
Where's
bitches at?
where's the hot barmaid? Is the barmaid
Yeah.
hot? Can I seduce
Can I
her?
seduce them?" It's just like, shut up.
Oh.
It's just not fun.
Oh god, it's
so weird
boring and it's so weird.
Annoying.
Yeah,
But
like,
yeah, it's like, do you want to know what I do love? Like, with 1D&D, we've got the Dancer Bard.
Yeah.
And the fact that, your magic is just in a craft that you love.
Yeah.
It could be slam poetry.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
could be dance. It
Yeah.
could be, paintings.
Yeah.
It could be like whatever you see as art. It could be stories. It doesn't even have to be poems. It doesn't have to be limericks. It could just be a story or
Yeah.
a tale of
Yeah.
heroics
Yeah.
that you tell.
Yeah.
And everyone just sits around and gets enamored because the way that you tell a story, you just engross everyone in.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And like the horny bard is just, to me, so boring. And as OP says, honestly, a lot of times just a reason for creeps to be creeps.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just like you can be the silver-tongued bard who,
Totally. Absolutely.
but it's just like when you can be that, and it can fit at a table, but again, you have to respect people's boundaries and stuff like that.
And the whole rhetoric of, oh, the bird seduces the dragon, also so boring to me.
It's so boring.
Like, also so boring to me.
Hey, just because Donkey did it in Shrek
It doesn't mean you can.
doesn't mean you can. It's like the dragon wants to rip your fucking skin and
Yeah.
flesh from its bone
Yeah.
and take your treasure for its hoard. Your little song ain't doing anything
Yeah,
right here, baby.
and honestly, like dragon so much more intelligent than you do as well. Like,
Do you want to know what that falls into? That
Go on.
dragon thing?
go on.
That falls into yes and.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and seduce the dragon.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Go
Okay.
for
Roll
it.
the dice.
Roll the dice. That's a natural 20, and it's just like, well, I'm fucked now.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, just say no.
Yeah. 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 And
Hey, is there any hot maids in this bar? Just say no.
yeah, genuinely. When I understand people play this character to be funny, right? And if you find it funny and your table finds it funny, that's completely your prerogative.
That's fine. Yeah.
Totally.
If you have a bit of fun with it, but as long as it's been respectful.
There's always the creepy people who
Yeah.
take it too far and they do it as an excuse to be creepy to the DM, to be creepy to players.
Yeah.
They use it as an excuse to be like, it's what my character would do. You know that my character's like this.
Yeah.
And put people in really horrible, awkward, uncomfortable situations because they're a fucking creep.
Can you lean and turn that off? I think he's a little bit cold.
Oh, of course.
You're doing a great job.
A little bit chilly, my
Little
baby.
Chilly boy, Billy.
Oh, my baby chilly.
Little
There
chilly.
you go. How's
Little
that?
Chilly man.
How's that? All right. No, absolutely no response.
Yeah, I do think that taking, like, as a bigger look at bards, just thinking about art
Yeah.
and how you would use that
Totally.
to heal, to
Yeah.
convince, to like
Yeah.
cast spells and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
really cool, and I do love I know that everyone's like, oh, the dance bar's just a monk and that, but to be honest, for me, it's more of the flavor.
Yeah, I
It's-
totally agree.
I
Yeah.
like it's relatively strong as well, and it feels pretty good because you're a bard at the same time.
Mm.
But it's the flavor
Yeah.
that I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, and I love the idea of like the tortured artist. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. Of course I do. Hey, look at me. Of course I do. And I do think there is room for the promiscuous character
Yeah.
who is silver-tongued and is charming, but also is respectful of consent
Yeah.
and respectful of the people around them.
Mhm.
Like there's a way to do it that isn't just, oh, can I seduce the dragon?
Yeah.
So annoying.
it's
Yeah, I
just
don't
yeah,
like that trope
you
at
can
all.
you can have that seductive bard as long as you are respectful,
Yeah.
consenting,
Yeah.
and you don't do it every fucking 5 seconds. It just gets so boring.
So boring. Yeah, so boring. The next one is, I really don't like the concept of a false Hydra. I've never seen a story of it that didn't make me just roll my eyes. It seems annoying, and I would not enjoy it being in a game I play in.
Okay.
Honestly, this is obviously OP's opinion. That's very fair.
That's fair.
It's very fair to not like the concept of something.
I think
What's your opinion? Because I have opinions on false Hydras.
I Here's my thing.
Mm.
Here's my thing.
Mm.
When I like to tell stories.
Mm.
That's just why I'm a dungeon master.
Mhm,
That's what excites me about being a dungeon master more than anything else. And like I've heard of a number of ways that people have played a false Hydra.
Yeah,
And none of them have made me go, man, I want to put a false Hydra in my game.
that's fair.
But I know there will be one day
Mm.
where I think of an idea,
And you'll go, perfect.
big brained enough,
Yeah.
and then I go, I need to make this a false Hydra.
Yeah.
Like, and I wanted to, and like that's just me being like, I want to be original, but it's also not. I haven't found one yet where I've gone,
That's
this
really
warrants.
Plucked at the inspiration
Yeah,
strings.
it's just like, I'll only really tell a story that I'm inspired by, and at no point have I gone, man, I'm so inspired to run a false Hydra yet.
no, that's fair.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I think, just putting a false Hydra for the sake of putting a false Hydra in, it's up to you. If your players enjoy it, fucking nice one, go with it. Like, totally great. But I get what OP's saying. I think a lot of the false Hydra, it became such a phenomenon in D&D that
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have gone, oh, well, I've got to put a false
Yeah.
Hydra in my game.
You know what I liken a false Hydra story to?
Go on.
It's like a creepypasta.
Is that a
right?
creepypasta? Yeah.
Like kind of like Jeff the Killer or something like that. It's like a kind of like a notorious can lean into some of the stories I've heard very edgy. But naturally, by the way, I would say a false Hydra is a very edgy, spooky, scary story. And whenever you get in,
Skeletons?
oh my god, they sent shivers down my spine.
No!
Like whenever you get into the realms of like a spooky thing,
Yeah.
there's always the paths that are going to lead it into feeling like something like a creepypasta.
Yeah.
Naturally, because that's just how people tell stories, right?
Yeah.
And I think the creepypastification of it is I wonder what OP is referring to here. I don't know, but the whole, it just makes me roll my eyes. I wonder if it's because the story has been so convoluted because it's been told over and over and over with these degreeing like variables of drama. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
and I
think as well, if you aren't into horror, and you aren't into like these like, and it was this all along.
Yeah.
You will roll your eyes because that's the point of the false Hydra.
Almost cliche in a way now.
Yeah.
It's become cliche. It wasn't. There was a point where it wasn't, right?
No,
where
I agree.
a false Hydra, a lot of inspiration was probably taken from that really big popular false Hydra story that I'm sure everyone's maybe first interaction with a false Hydra was of that big Reddit post where it was like, and then they were shocked and they didn't know and they kept getting really spooked. And again,
they were like, they saw a picture of their of the group
exactly, and it all came crumbling down.
There was one person there and they were like, who's that? And they were like,
yeah. And the first time I read it, I was like, that is incredibly cool. In the same way, the first time I started reading creepypastas, like the Simpsons episode 1 and the SpongeBob one and the Pokemon one, like I was like, these are really cool stories. But then the more you hear, the more that come out like them, the more you're
they lose the shine a little bit. I think I completely agree with you. I think they sort of that's the thing. It's just like, how many times it's like a horror film. It's like do you remember in the late 2010s where it was all the same horror movie every single time? Well, nothing was different about them. They just had the same boring ass jump scares.
Really great example of that, Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Blair Witch Project it changed the horror genre entirely forever.
Because of
it's the found footage.
With the found footage.
And then
it was the story that it told beforehand.
Yes, it's the marketing behind Blair Witch is one of the best marketing campaigns
marketed
ever.
as if it was real.
Yeah.
And then a movie came out about it and found footage and people were like, wait a second, is this real?
Yeah.
It was done in such an original way.
Yeah, but
and that's like the false Hydra.
Yeah.
It's done in such an original way until everybody does it. And then you're
that
like,
becomes the norm.
That's fucking boring now.
All of the found footage films that came out after Blair Witch, I would say barring the first Paranormal Activity, were dog shit.
Yeah.
Like, there was so many terrible found footage movies that came out in the wake of Blair Witch. Cloverfield was great.
The OG. That came before Paranormal Activity.
Did it?
Oh, yeah. Well before.
Did it really? Because what, Paranormal Activity was maybe 2010?
Correct me if I'm wrong, please, down in the comments. But I'm pretty sure Cloverfield came well before.
Oh, we're going to have to find out.
No way you're doing it right now.
I think they were maybe adjacent to each other.
No.
I honestly, Cloverfield movie release. Okay, Cloverfield 2008.
Ain't no way Paranormal Activity came out before that.
No, I don't think it did, I think it came out around 2010. When Paranormal Activity 2007.
No. Is that true?
2007? We were in school? I could have sworn it was like college.
2007?
2007. Oh my God, we were, what, 11, 12, 13?
13 years old?
14? Oh my God.
That ain't no way.
No way.
That's wild.
Oh my God.
I felt like I watched that when I was like...
Yeah, 15.
17, 18.
I felt like I watched that when I was like maybe 14, 15.
That's wild.
Hey, wow, jeez. Wow, but I suddenly aged by about a decade there.
Cloverfield.
Oh, man.
Cloverfield beats Paranormal Activity every day of the week. Anyway, but that's the point.
Yeah,
it's just it's not saying that those stories are now bad.
Yeah.
But you roll your eyes because you've heard it before, and that's why you roll your eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. That's what I interpret it as.
Yeah.
Is I've heard it so many times before.
Yeah.
That I do get to the point where I'm like, oh, that's cool, yeah, and I'm like, but. I'm a bit bored of it now.
Yeah,
and I get it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's bad, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't run a false Hydra.
No, God,
and
no.
like, if there's people in your game who have no idea what a false Hydra is,
hey,
they'll get that.
People love cliches. People love tropes. I do.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a false Hydra. I know I would love a false Hydra.
Yeah.
But I very much see what OP is saying.
Yeah.
I do.
I will put a false Hydra in one of my games at one point.
Yeah.
But I think then a moment needs to crop up where I'm like, if I put a false Hydra in here, man, it's
totally. It has to be the right time.
It's gonna rock it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want from a false Hydra. I want something where it's just like, I have had the wool pulled over my eyes.
Totally.
For
and I'm
so
really
long,
shocked
and I can't believe it.
Totally.
This is
totally.
what I want.
We have a few more to get through. I want to get through some more of these. So
that's okay.
This next one is this is simply a preference as a DM and a player, but I don't think I like the idea of first time the characters meet scenario in session 1. It always feels forced, like, oh, you're also a bounty hunter, let's be friends for life type shit. I would much rather, and already do as a DM, just assume that the characters are familiar with each other and that they have already banded together to chase a common goal.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't like, if that's, see, for me, my players love meeting each other.
Yeah.
And for the first time and introducing themselves and they love finding a reason to adventure together. They love, because then it's just like, okay, we're adventuring together, but why? Like, there's obviously something beneath the surface of all of us that means we're going to, trust each other and put ourselves in dangerous situations together. And I want to know that about you.
I like the idea that everyone's reasons to stick together initially are purely selfish, right?
I agree,
everyone has a selfish reason to need to adventure. I think that's actually the most important thing for your character.
Yeah, you need
have.
a reason to not be at home.
And naturally, I think a lot of them are not all of them, a lot of them are selfish. And I like how the development of, I have this goal that I need to attain for myself, and these people will help me. And I love how that morphs into, oh, actually, I care for them, and I care for their goal too. And actually, their goal aligns with my goal. And even if it doesn't, I'm going to make sure that we together achieve everything we want.
And that's not to say that, like, you couldn't do that with this.
No, of
but
course
I think, like, I would still have them only maybe just have met. It's like when you go into campaign 2, it's like Ford and Jester met like a week before or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that at all.
No,
like,
I don't.
Like some people, like, Yasha and Mollymark had been together for ages.
Yeah, Caleb and not.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, if you want people to know each other before, I don't mind at all.
I completely agree.
I think that there's a lot of people who do love the meeting on the first day and finding out loads of stuff.
Our table, we love the first meetings, and I think. Oh, to be fair, this is obviously such a subjective opinion, right?
Yeah.
But I think that it always feels forced. I think this is where I'm going to say what I always say: you have to just suspend your disbelief, right? Like, who cares if it feels forced? Like, it doesn't.
Like, we're here to play a game.
Does it feel forced when you're watching a movie or you're reading a book and these characters meet? Like, and if the answer is yes, it's like, do you care? Does it matter?
Does it feel forced when your players throw themselves into almost world-ending situations to fight gods and stuff like that? It's like, why do we suspend our disbelief every other time?
Totally.
But this one.
Totally. Like, and I get it. I understand why people feel that way, but I love the first meeting, and I love knowing that us as a group of friends, we're like, we're going to make it work. Because we're friends and our characters, and we want to play D&D together. And, our characters, your characters can totally not even meet eye to eye initially, maybe not even want to travel together, but they do.
But they do.
They
have
do.
To.
I think this idea that, oh, you're a bounty hunter, let's be friends forever. I don't think that's an accurate representation of how most of the time it goes.
Yeah.
I think there's characters that are like that, and I love characters like that, but I think it's far more selfishly motivated than, let's be friends, let's be friends forever. I think that's maybe...
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's not giving people enough credit.
Yeah.
And I think that's giving people's ability to tell us a story not enough credit, to be like, you're only together because you want to be friends.
If a Dungeon Master said to me, if I went to play a game where they were like, you all know each other before, I'd be like,
oh, absolutely.
Doesn't matter to me. It's like, I've still got loads of secrets and I've still got a story I want to tell.
Certainly.
Like, just because you have met me before session 1 doesn't mean you know everything about me. Could mean you know nothing about me.
Yeah,
but we've just chose to come to this point, but we just didn't do it on camera.
Yeah,
I guess,
we could just literally be like co-workers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's so many people who would love the concept of everyone just already knowing each other.
Yeah.
We've played in one-shots where, for the sake of brevity, your one-shot, we all knew each other.
Yeah.
Some of Matthew's, we all knew each other. And I think I think that's fine. I think it's all fine.
Yeah.
It's table subjective, right?
I
As
completely
always.
agree. I don't mind it, but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. This next one is, for me, there are a few, but I hate the idea of failing forwards. I always see it suggested, but the idea that the party simply cannot actually fail, merely find success through a different means, always frustrates me. The party fails to beat the dungeon boss. They wake up unrestrained in his prison cells under his castle, with a sleeping guard and all their gear still on. The party fails to track down the bandits that attacked the merchant's caravan. They get approached by a very convenient stranger who just happens to know where the bandits went, and they can guide them there. It's not necessarily the concept of having alternative paths to achieve your goals. It's when the DM consistently is bailing out the party. That kind of thing doesn't go unnoticed. As a DM, I don't plan a story or events that need to happen. There is simply things going on in the world, and the party can interact with them if they wish, and if they mess up, then they mess up, and that's okay. If I wanted to determine what happens in the game with dice, I'd take them away, and I would simply just describe stuff happening.
Yeah, I think I think that's more personally. I think that's more of a new dungeon master thing, where maybe something for the first time
totally
didn't go right.
Yeah, of course.
And the dungeon boss did win, or the bad guy did win this fight.
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, how
and
do
it's
I?
Just like, oh well,
Yeah.
it's okay because it's not going to be all bad because you're in the dungeon and the guard's sleeping and you've still got all this stuff on. It's just like,
of course.
I think I agree, but that's just for the game that I play. It's just like the bad guys are real. They're not gonna just they're not just gonna be ignorant to the fact that you're trying to stop them.
Yeah.
They're going to. It's just like, I think it's been out on Patreon now. Yeah, it's like when Laura tried to assassinate the group. Like they scryed on you.
Yeah.
You took the chance and stayed in that place in your little bubble.
Yeah.
She switched place with Dale. And there was one person on the watch, which was you, and she tried to kill you in one go.
Yeah.
But
she nearly did.
And then she tried to kill Marcus.
Yeah.
It's like, they're real people.
Yeah.
And they are like trying to stop you. So they're not going to be idiots about it and just like walk in and be like, hey guys, I'm here to kill you.
Totally.
They're going to try and do it properly.
Totally.
And they're going to be ready for you and they're going to be prepared for you and they're going to not take chances. And yeah, they should disarm you and take your magic items from you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't mean you can't get them back. But in this moment, they've taken precautions to make you weak because they know you're dangerous. I get it.
No, I get it. And I agree. I think maybe this is an experience thing, but at the same time, there's some parties who do like having a storytelling story like this. There's some parties who don't like to fail, and that's okay.
Fine.
That's okay.
Or a slightly just like lower stakes campaign.
Totally.
Where like you don't really fail, you always win, and you're just going on the adventure to experience the story, and it's good fun.
Yeah.
And then I would think that what I've just said doesn't apply at all. I think that those things don't matter.
Yeah.
Because that's not why you're playing the game.
No.
Like my players
why are you playing
play the game to experience the story.
Yeah.
And also be challenged.
Yeah. And if failing is part of it, then failing's part of it.
Failing is part of it, then failing is part of it.
And we're okay with that. And I know that not everyone is, but like, I think there's a lot of rhetoric around hand holding in D&D, and I don't agree with the fact that hand holding is a bad thing. I think if your players want it and your players are happy with it and that's how they play, then hold their hand all they want. Like as long as you as the DM enjoy that type of storytelling, it doesn't matter. But I do agree with this. Like I think failing forwards is important in some aspects.
Yeah.
But I think again the whole oh god, oh no, we've pretty much TPK'd, but somehow we've woken up in this place.
Somehow, the god of life has blessed us on this day
totally,
because the clouds parted and the sun hit us, and it's just like, you and I would hate that.
Very much
You and I would despise that.
That would be something I would not be interested in. Yeah,
because
certainly.
it's got no stakes.
Yeah.
And it's just got no like weight to it.
Yeah.
But like that's just recognizing play style, I think.
Yeah.
Like we like a tougher game where bad guys aren't idiots and they're clever and they're thinking and they're trying and all the decisions that they make are clever and smart.
Yeah, totally.
And, you know, but that doesn't. This is the thing. It's just like we like that because that's the sort of game we like. But if somebody didn't like that, I don't care. Like, you play D&D how you want to play D&D.
Totally.
I think you just need to find the right table.
Yeah, I think OP makes honestly a really great point. Like, it doesn't mean that having alternative paths, like having alternative paths is important. I think that is very different from what OP's saying, and I agree. I think having alternative ways for your not being married to a single way of success for the party as the DM is very important.
Yeah.
Not being like, okay, this is going to trigger, then that's going to trigger, then they're going to say this thing, and then they're going to find this, and then at that point, the door will open. You know? I think it's really important to not be married to that. And then I actually think failing forwards is a way to be able to show your players that there isn't just one way to do something.
Yeah.
They can do it in however many other ways, as long as you as the DM have committed to them being able to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree with bits of it, but
I agree with the take because that's the game I want to play.
Yeah,
but
same.
That take isn't going to work for every single table.
No, definitely
because
not.
there's some people who just wouldn't enjoy that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about D&D that I think a lot of us forget sometimes is everyone's different. All of us are different, and we all enjoy different things. So, like, it's like with unpopular opinions, like ultimatum opinions, where it's just like, this is the right and wrong way to play. It's just like, that's fine for you and your opinion, but that's not going to work for every table. And I get that with my opinion. My tough game with lots of drama and stakes and bad guys who are going to try and actually kill you and not pull their punches isn't going to be for a more casual table.
Yeah, totally. I agree. The last one. That was the penultimate.
Penultimate.
The last one. Personally, I really don't like extreme cases of flavor is free. If you want your Eldritch Blast to be a laser beam or a lightning bolt or a stream of glittery sparkles, great. If you want your Eldritch Blast to be a gun or an Inspector Gadget extendo fist punch or a lawn dart, please just no. I don't know, it just really bumps me for some reason when the described action is just so critically different from the base mechanic. I like the phrase bumps me. It just bumps me. I like that.
Okay.
What do you think?
So, for me, do you want to know what? Here we go. Here's my controversial opinion.
Oh.
I actually get it.
I get it as well. I get it.
I get it. Like, when people are like, oh yeah, my Eldritch Blast is an extendo fist or a gun. There's part of me that I'm like, okay, like fair enough. But as a dungeon master and over the years, I've just come to be like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. To me, like, I want my Eldritch Blast to be some sort of, like, Eldritch energy.
Yeah.
And that's why there's all these different spells.
Yeah.
And they look different in different ways. Everyone's looks completely different. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
And flavor is flavor. But yeah, when you do say my Eldritch Blast is a gun.
This is making sense now.
Yeah.
This conversation's making sense now.
Do you want to know where I did get caught up in it once? It's like, hey, like, your Eldritch Blast is a gun. Fine. I don't care. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Where I did get caught up in it before, and I was a bit like, was when you were like,
yes.
When you were like,
I'm a dual wielder, but can I just flavor it as
but
one
I just
sword?
want one big sword.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was very much a no from you.
It was a no from me.
It was a no from you, and
but then I
never understood why.
I was like, why do I care? Because to me, it's like, well, if you dual wield and you got two swords, well, if you got a great sword, you got a great sword, and like for the longest time, I was like, why? Because the thing is, and I think this is where it comes down for me, is my character's appearance is not what I care about. I know. Here you go.
Cannot relate.
Exactly. But my character's story is paramount.
Yeah, same.
That's what I care about the most.
Same.
That's but I think the way your character looks is a massive thing for you.
Yeah, it doesn't trump the story, but it definitely
how my character looks
is so important to me. Yeah.
Is what it is. Like,
it's
that's why I've never got character art, because I'm just not that bothered.
Not bothered, yeah.
Like, it's not the most important thing to me. It's who my character is, what my character is, why my character is, all of those things trump how my character looks. So when people are like, oh yeah, I want to have 2 swords, but I want it to be one big sword, to me that doesn't make sense because I'm like, why'd you care? But
then vice versa. I'm like, well, why do you care if I flavor my things that way? And
But
I think you tried to make it like a mechanical thing as well.
Yeah.
You tried to be like, yeah, well, if you're dual wielding, you have to add different things. And I remember sitting you down and being like, why do you have an issue with this?
But and it's not that I had an issue with it. It's just my priorities weren't and still aren't there.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, it wasn't important enough for me to be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think you've done a full 180 on that because my next character, you're very much pushing for me to have a great sword, but to flavor it as something else.
Am I?
Yeah, you were like, yeah, it's very important that you have a great sword, but you can.
No, it's not important that you have a. That's just for power.
Yeah. Oh, but by the way, yes, it is very important.
When it's important for you to have a great sword, a great axe, or a maul.
Yeah.
For the build purposes.
Yes. Yeah.
Flavor that however you want. I don't care.
Yeah. So I think you've done like honestly a 180.
I have done a 180 because it's like I think you just as you get older, you just realize that like things just matter to different people more.
Yeah, of course.
And I think very much for you and Abby, the way things look is like
very important.
Is like a fundamental pillar of your character.
It is, yeah.
Because you like really imagine them, and you get hey, would you look at that? You two get a lot of art of your character.
Yeah, and we get a lot of joy from it
and
as
you
well.
get a lot of joy from it.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, those things don't matter to me. So I was like, why do they matter so much?
Yeah.
But because they matter to you.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
So this explains why. Hey, listen. Do I want to theme my next character's Eldritch Blast as a gun? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
And were you immediately like, oh, yeah, well, you can make it Eldritch in some way. Like, you can have it so, like, the bullet reloads in a certain Eldritch way. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And you were like,
oh, no, just talking about the blast out the gun.
Yeah. That it makes sense then why you suggested that
because
to me.
that's my go-to. It's just like I want it to be Eldritch in some way because it's Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
It's like me as a person, I'm like, well, it has to be Eldritch in somewhere. It has to be like kind of creepy and cool in somewhere because you're a warlock. But for you, you are literally just like, no, it's just a gun.
It's just a gun. It's just a gun. It's just a gun.
I'm gonna shoot with my Eldritch Blast. I pull my gun out and I shoot them with my gun. And it's just like, to me, I would never take Eldritch Blast
and turn it
into a gun.
Yeah.
Because I want to shoot an Eldritch Blast.
I get it.
My brain is just wired differently when it comes to these things.
I get it. I very much get it. I understand seeing something and being like, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, it's the same way as reflavoring. Like, I reflavor all of my... Well, listen, Blythe is supposed to be a Vengeance Paladin, which she is now. But, then I changed very suddenly to a Swords Bard. I already had loads of artwork done, and I wanted her to wield a big sword.
Yeah.
So that's where it all started. And to me, it couldn't matter less. Honestly, with my new character, there's some things that I haven't fully decided on the subclass, and I remember it was last night. I was specifically like, does it matter to you how I flavor these things? Like, does it matter if I'm between the Great Old One and the Archfey, and I was like, does it matter to you if I can still keep the same backstory but have a different subclass? And you were like, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And to me, those mechanically versus flavor, to me, doesn't matter at all. To me, I'm like, I can make anything I want, anything that is possible.
And I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't care. Like, you can do whatever you want, and it's the artificer argument, isn't it? Or it's just a Warforged argument.
Yes.
Hey, my Warforged don't exist in this world.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's fine, but I still want to play a Warforged. It's just like, well, you can. It's just like, well, why can't I?
Yeah.
I just want the mechanics of being a Warforged.
Yeah.
I'll just look like a human.
Yeah.
So it's like, then why does it matter? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you aren't taking any lore of the Warforged.
No.
Any of the campaign setting, like the sci-fi, steampunky, whatever the fuck it is that you want to do, the Eberron setting.
Yeah.
It's like, none of that exists. I just want the AC boost.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I want to look like a human.
Yeah,
like,
but
why does it matter?
To be honest, I actually do understand if DMs wouldn't be okay with that.
Why?
It's not that I understand it. It's just I get for a lot of people, an important pillar of someone's character is their race, and a lot of people have identity locked into race, and I get it. I don't, but you know,
I was gonna say I don't get it.
I don't, but I get why some DMs would be like, oh, in the same way that you were like, no, you can't reflavor having 2 swords as one. You know, that initial, like, no, your identity is you're a dual wielder. You can't possibly do that.
More than anything, as well, I was sat there thinking to myself, would it have any mechanical like change to it?
Yeah, why would it?
But then I was like,
to me, I was like, why would
no,
it?
it wouldn't.
And I think you were kind of adamant at first that there would be a mechanical thing to it. To which I was like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, no, but I think I was worried that there would be, that I would gloss over for some reason, and then later on, I would be like, oh fuck, like no, you can't do that because of this. But then I was like, as long as we mechanically treat them as 2 different swords, nothing else matters. Then why does it matter?
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's like sometimes you do have to run it through the dungeon master brain and be like, I don't want to fuck up here.
Yeah, of course.
And like make something bad happen. But yeah, who fucking cares? And like that's the thing. Like I don't give a fuck if you just want to be a warforged for the sake of having the abilities and stuff like that. But literally just be a fleshy human. Yeah. That doesn't matter.
Yeah. I agree. But I can see the other side of it. I can see it. No. I don't agree with it, but I can see the other side of it, and I can see what OP's saying here, right? Being like, you know, extreme cases, but like, you know, to my question is, why does any of it matter?
Why does it matter?
I would honestly like to know, and I don't think OP even has the answer here. OP's just like, I don't know. It just bumps me. It just bumps me.
It just bumps me. I get bumped.
I just get bumped.
I just get a little bumped about it.
And, you know, I think OP doesn't even have a explanation for it. So I would be interested to know what the reason is. Because
I think it's honestly, for some people, I think it might be like class identity.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was saying in terms of people. A lot of people base a lot of identity on their character's race and their class.
Class.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You can't have a gun. That's the fighters thing and the rogues thing.
Yeah, totally.
And like you can't have the extendo punchy arm because that's the artificers thing.
Yes.
And like I do see the wall.
Yeah.
I see the wall and why you can't get past it.
Yeah, same, I do.
But I think we do get a little caught up in it.
Yeah, I think I like to follow the general rule of thumb of if it doesn't have a mechanical reason, if there is no mechanics behind it,
non-single,
like it doesn't matter, you know? In my opinion, it doesn't matter. And I think anything can be anything you want it to be, as long as you're not asking to mechanically change the reason for something.
But I think it's when you're like, oh, it's a gun. My Eldritch Blast is a gun.
Yeah. And
then like, oh, this person's up in melee with you. Like, you're going to shoot your Eldritch Blast at disadvantage. And then someone would go, I'm going to pistol whip them. And it's like...
yeah.
Then it's like, well,
you can't because it's just your Eldritch Blast.
Because it's just your Eldritch Blast. That is where I think the alarm bells would go off for a dungeon master.
Totally.
Being like, see, I told you.
Totally.
I told you that, like, it's just Eldritch Blast. You can't do things like that with it. It's like, oh, hey, I'm going to sell my gun for loads of money. And it's just like, but you're not, though.
Totally, because it's just your Eldritch Blast. Because it's just your Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
It you know what's a similar thing with like pets and companions that aren't, you know, like a rangers or a fine familiar. Like Balthazar, I made it so abundantly clear. He was purely plot. He was purely just a dog. I never, ever have once asked him to do anything. I've never asked if he can make a perception check. I've never asked if he could join us in combat. I flavor my clairvoyance as Balthazar going in and being sneaky, but I've never asked mechanically for anything like that because we made it very clear. If I was going to have a companion, it was purely story.
Purely just vibes.
Yeah.
Just vibes.
And I think that's actually honestly a very similar thing in a way.
Yeah. can Balthazar bite them? It's like,
Yeah,
no.
no.
Because we
No.
said.
Honestly, even
Yeah.
can Balthazar go and do a perception check? No.
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 No, because...
And that's the thing. I think a lot of Dungeon Masters do get a little bit like apprehensive about saying yes.
Rightly so,
and
I think.
then been taken advantage of.
I think rightly so.
Because they said yes.
Especially if you have a player who is a little bit cheesy.
And yeah, like I wouldn't want either of us to be put in that position where I have to be like,
Yeah.
where I'm like looking at you like, hey,
Yeah,
I said
totally.
that thing.
Yeah, totally. But I think you can trust all of us.
Yeah, I can.
I am flavoring my Eldritch Blast as a gun.
You
I
are.
quite simply am.
And if you try and pistol whip somebody,
Yeah. No, you worked me out.
campaign over.
No, you worked me out.
I'm
That's exactly
ending it.
what I was
It's
going to do.
Finished.
Oh, no. But then I actually would flavor if I had
Pistol
to do
whipping.
an unarmed attack as pistol whipping someone.
But it would just be
my unarmed attack.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I would
that's the
never
thing, it's
ask
like-
to... Yeah.
It's like, hey, yeah, what's your strength mod? You do that much damage.
Yes.
Instead of
okay,
roll me for like
yeah,
improvised
I have
weapon damage.
I have a weapon now. Yeah,
That's how
totally.
it is.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
That's a funny one.
That's it. We got through. We actually got through almost all of them. There was only one that I had to take out. So yeah. Oh, no,
fair.
yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
No. Hey.
I'll leave in the part where the camera fell over.
Hey. Don't know what we were saying. I have no clue what we were talking
He's
about.
a menace. We were just saying that we wouldn't be able to do unbox at the
No,
time.
no, no. Oh, no, no.
But
Yeah.
He wants his lunch, so
Yeah,
he's
feed
being
him.
a menace.
Feed the boy.
So he pulled the camera over
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's who he is.
Yeah.
That's just his
Yeah.
edict.
Yeah. Well, what did you think? Did you
loved
like
it.
this one? I think this is a really interesting
I
one.
just I like things where we get to talk about talking points. Like talking points within TTRPGs.
We never got to talk about yours.
That's okay. We'll do mine next time.
Oh, I need to know it now, though.
Oh, it wasn't anything. Mine was less to do with in-game. Mine was mine's nothing important.
Okay. Oh no.
It's alright. Mine's not good.
Oh.
Don't worry about
it. Oh,
We'll do mine
no.
next time.
Yeah.
We'll do mine next
All
time.
right.
Very good.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Thanks so much for being here.
Whoever put this onto the subreddit, really
Yeah,
great
good,
one.
Good shit.
And honestly, things like this that have like a conversation, it's so hard for me to be able to quantify exactly what we look for the podcast because it changes every single time and there's nuance to everything and some things we can't put on, some things honestly wouldn't work well as a back and forth conversation. Things like this work incredibly well.
Because they're just talking points.
Yeah, they're just talking points with examples that different people have and different opinions. I think that's what we try to focus on, especially for this episode where EP.
No, I'm alright.
Epstein.
I need some food.
Yeah, I'm starved.
I need something to eat.
Yeah, I need something to eat.
Yeah, so thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Yes, indeed.
Like, comment, subscribe. If you've made it all the way to the end, make sure you say I'm EP-Bo PP
EP-Bo PP.
down in the comments. Make sure that you go and check out some merch, www.eldritchpodblast.co.uk. Patrons get 10% off. Check out the Patreon down in the description for some more exclusive content. I love you.
I love you.
Bully loves you.
Well,
not as much as he loves destroying the podcast set.
Yeah.
We have been the Eldritch Podblast, and we're going to see you on Thursday. Bye!
And another huge thank you to our patrons for all of your support. A big shout out to our fellow entities.
Hoobs,
Ariel,
Tula,
Runarian,
Arkham Labs Cosplay,
Maddie, Luna,
Teddysaurus,
Caspian, J-Spot,
Ultrafail,
Dallin M,
Sleepy,
Joe Dragonlord 2,
Alistar,
Lawkeeper Society,
Ricky B,
Danny Phantom,
Catherine,
Faustskin,
Azuriel,
Panda Queen Plays,
Xylo Boy,
Lucas Iapetus,
Luna River,
Ruined Rivers.
Christomancy,
The tacos are here.
Gavin.
Thank you again for all your support.
And if you too would like to become a patron of the Eldritch Podblast, check the link below.